Hello, today we're going to talk about Google Gemini or Google coding tools. Um, really the only reason I'm talking about Google and their tools is not because they're the best, it's just because they offer a nice suite of tools that's free for a lot of students. I don't use Google probably as much as I should, but like I said, they have a strong product, and I want to show you some of the things you can do, how it can help you, and some of the challenges. Now, just to be aware that with agentic coding or these tools, if you ask a question that's not specific enough, it will give you an answer that's not, or it will go down a path that may not be correct. I've seen this happen a lot, where a person will work on a coding project and they don't understand the requirements, they don't understand the end goal, and the the agent, the AI, whatever you should call it, develops out something and it's great, it's functional, it's beautiful, but it's not what the problem needed, it's not what solves the problem. They solved a completely different problem that's not related or not even close to the issue. So just keep that in mind when you work with these tools. So real quick, we're going to go over well, let me rephrase that. We're not going to go over Google AI Studio. I've used it sometimes to kind of dev out prompts. It's a website right here. I might go link this. I can't. But it can do it. Now, Colab. We've gone over Colab. Colab is nice because Colab allows you to create notebooks, which you can execute code. So you don't have to set up anything on your computer. You can do it on your phone, you can do it on your iPad, on your Chromebook, your Windows, your PC. Certain tools, nothing really on this list, but certain tools only work on certain machines with certain environments. I have a huge problem right now on another project I'm working on because it wants me to use a different version of Python that I'm not allowed to use. And it happens probably every other month. I'll have a nice coding environment for 1 month, and then either data breaks or something will change and nothing works. So it is very common. That's where Colab comes in. Colab, you just do your homework. You don't have to worry about environment dependencies. You can install things. The problems, you just restart it. We've gone over Colab, but let me just load it up here really quick. And so here, this is my personal Google Colab. Then let's just switch it over. There's Colab. Hmm. Let me find a notebook here real quick. Give me 1 second. Like I said, let's change the model. Can you help me with this? I want to download this data set. There's no sense in having you guys watch me talk. So I just said, hey, here's Hugging Face. Boom, get going. Took in a little coal I got from UNLV. Okay, just came back with all these notebooks. Nothing worse than live coding demos. I can grant it. I don't know if I really need it. It's a common free open data set, I think. And then I can have it work on this error. Again, we've tried to kind of how to make this work. That's Google Notebooks or Colab, whatever we call it. I would get notebooks. It's a notebook environment, they just have another product called Notebooks. And then you can go through and explain this error and it will help you fix it and everything. So a really nice environment. So you can see, I mean, I installed software right up here. This is something now that I don't have to download on my computer. I don't have to take a risk for because it's on a Google virtual machine and it's installed. Great. Super, super cool. Okay. So, okay, so we're not really going to cover this one. I'm going to cover this one really quick. Yeah, this is not 100% related to the class, but if you haven't used NotebookLM, it's a great product. Get loaded here. So it used to not be available to UNLV students, and I think they changed it. If you have problems accessing it, let me know. Okay, so you can tell I have a lot of notebooks. So let me give you a great example of how I used it, for example. Right, well, I uploaded a bunch of TikTok resume videos, just regular TikTok videos talking about resumes, and Google Notebooks went through and converted them to text so we could use it. I often, when I used to be the student rep when I was a student, yeah, I guess called student rep. But students would ask me all the time, "Hey, how do I do this? How do I do this? Do I get vacations off?" I uploaded all the graduate assistant handbooks into Google Notebooks, and then I can say, "Hey, my PI or class mentor wants me to work Christmas. Is that allowed?" And then Notebooks will start working on it. So this allows you to upload either pictures, videos, text, books, anything that you have, and you can kind of ask it questions, interact with it. So it's very, very helpful as a learning tool. I think there's a limit of like 200 text books right now on it. Here's like the book that we use for a class. Can you help me understand text tokenization? And there's boom. You can also make little audio outlines. It can do little video reviews. You can do mind maps. You can make quizzes. Yeah, this 2024 Wiley book authored by blah, blah, blah. So there we go. It shows you exactly kind of where in the book it finds information. If you're not using it, it's a good source that it can help you. That was NotebookLM. Okay, but we're getting through it. Now, Antigravity, the cool stuff. Antigravity came out November, December-ish, and it took the world by surprise, I guess. So I think how to explain. So basically, what happens is that a lot of people use VS Code. I use VS Code. Let me get it loaded. There's VS Code. And at the end of the day, VS Code is nothing more than a really fancy text editor. The plugins that can do a lot of things. Now, it's open source like Jupyter Notebooks. So Antigravity, Google, basically kind of grabbed this interface and made a product called Antigravity. When you get the web page 2 out loads. Oh, look at all that cool stuff. Okay, so I haven't really looked at their site. I downloaded it and moved on. No, they do have. I looked at last time, they didn't have pricing. Okay, so I guess I have pricing now, blog. So yeah, okay, so November 2025. And like I said, it was a great program, still very, very useful. Basically what it is kind of like VS Code, but specialized for agentic programming or programming or solving problems. Okay. So here's Antigravity, and here is actually an open plugins. VS Code. Hey, look how similar they are. See the little thing down here, same plugin, same. You know, I think so. This has that side on it right here. Let's move this. Let me close this up. So you can see it's very, very simple. There's anti-gravity. So you do have plugins that you use on the side. You have all types of things. You should log in with your Google account right here. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open a folder. And I have desktop. This one. No, that was, I call it demo. There we go. So I just have a blank folder. Richard, this is really unimpressive. I know, guys, don't worry. And so what can we do? Well, what this can do is you have files or modules kind of over here on the left, and where you can see your code and kind of how you can talk to your agent. There's a planning, and I think action, yeah, fast. Let's just kind of play with it. And we'll also figure this out. You can use Gemini, Sonnet. You have a bunch of different GPTs, OSS. Let's just use this. And I'm sure I'm not going to do this justice because I can do so much more, because normally when I use this, I use it for much more complex things. But can you help me? Oh, perfect. Help me. How can use this data? I would like to make maybe a few linear regression charts. I'm trying to understand what kind of price action I might see in 2026 and 2027 if the trend continues. So I just literally answered the question. I'm going to just let it go for a while. You'll see right now that's that folder demo, or my face is demo right here. Okay, so it's trying to figure out, coming up with an action plan. To tell you, this is what I want to do. There's nothing in there now. About for 9 sections, it creates some tasks and wants to do it. I've outlined a plan. Okay, so let's look at the plan. There we go. Goal to analyze this, blah, blah. I'm gonna do some requirements. So requirement file is a file that basically just says, hey, this is what I need to make this happen. It's gonna do pandas. It's gonna do a linear regression model, prediction, blah, blah. There's a visualization. I don't know, it'll simply say. So let's say proceed. And then it's starting to go. Sorry, I'm really losing my voice. I'm just going to pause it for a while. You can see how it's starting to use tools and thinking and generating. Eventually, you'll see more files come over here under demo, but not right now. So I'm just going to let this go for a minute and then come back and check on it. So I just want to hit accept here. Now this is actually installing stuff on my computer. So, just remember, be careful, because again, it's installing stuff on your computer. And there's a lot of packages, and programs can have bad stuff in it, which just makes sense. I mean, if I want to hack your computer and take control of all your stuff, I can just make a Python package, and then once you install it, I maybe have control of your computer. So that's why you just got to be kind of careful with this. I'm just going to let it go, making a virtual environment. I just saw it make 2 files. Hit proceed up here. And if you look actually on this demo, I have 2 files. Now, this can do a lot more than what I'm showing you. It's still, you see it's still working. When I originally used Antigravity the first couple times, I was really impressed with the intelligence it could find on really big projects. So when we start developing projects that are, hundreds of files, thousands of files, those files are hundreds of lines long, or notebooks that are 200-300 cells long, AI can kind of sometimes get lost in context. It forgets what it should be working on. So, that's why I tested Antigravity on. It worked really well. This is just a quick demo because I don't want to be here all night trying to show you all the cool things anti-gravity can do. But like I said, it can help with the project. As a student, how can you use this? If you have a project you're passionate about, do an Analyze Me project, a research project, this can help you get to goal. But remember, that instruction, incorrect instruction, if you don't know in your head what the output should be or what the reasons and logics of the goal are, that is where you'll fail. That's why when I went over the syllabus, that's why the library is so beneficial, because you have at least an idea of what the outcome is, what normal is. Okay, so if I'm looking at this, I would say that Airbnb stock I should never buy. That's going to tell me that right now, using linear regression in 2026, Airbnb stock is, I don't know, $45. So I'm looking, today is January 25th. And Airbnb stock closed at 132. So AI just gave me probably a perfectly correct answer, but I'm not asking the right questions. I'm not using correctly. But again, you get the idea that, hey, we have tools now that can get us to goal. If you want to make a linear regression chart, boom, here's that. I mean, I know how to do linear regression in Excel, and I know how to do it in Python. Here's just, how to do it agentically. We can ask it to do something else. Can you update this to use profit? I don't know how to spell that. Meta profit, and just let it work. It creates files, creates virtual environments. So it takes the burden of a lot of these subtasks off you. Now, what was next on the list? Like I said, I do like anti-gravity, so I mean, I like that one. Now, most of the time I use terminal-based interfaces like this. It's not one I use, but there is Codex from OpenAI. There's Claude Code from Anthropic. There is Quinn from, it might be like Quinn Code from Quinn Labs. I don't know who it's from. There's Open Code. There's Crush. There's a bunch of different ones of these. I don't even have Gemini CLI, command line interface, installed, but I'm going to install it right now. So, by the way, it just came back with the profit chart, which so let's move to the command line interface. Okay, I just Googled Gemini command line interface. Ooh, such a pretty website. Well, it's big enough that you guys can see it. And I did look real quick. This is available on Windows. Not all CLI interfaces are available on Windows. This one is. So if you use Windows, that is all the better for you. I'm on a Mac. It doesn't really matter if it's available on Linux. Yeah, I don't know how to use this. Like I said, I don't really use it. So actually, what I'm going to do is I made a new folder called Demo 2. I'm going to that folder and log in with Google. It should pop up the window. There we go. I want to use this email. Yeah, nice and easy. Let's start restart. We can choose different models. We can authenticate, which we did, submit a bug. Let's see, compress. Your text gets, if you're asking a question working back and forth, you need to compact it, I guess. Extensions. So what was the question I asked in the other one? If I can find a better data set. So real quick, this is just Hugging Face. I'm just going to go to data sets and I'm just going to do stock. And let's see stock NVIDIA. Oh, stock NVIDIA. And then I want to do prices. You want spaces, you want data sets right up here. And I just want text. 13 meg seems reasonable, and it says January 25, so a year old. Boom. Looks good to me. I don't even know what it is. No, so it's different stocks. Okay, so I'm just going to use this data set. Actually, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to copy it from up here. Can you help me? Actually, let me get rid of that. I want to take this data set and make a few visualizations. First, let's come up with a plan. Once we have the plan, let's visualize this in a few different ways so I can understand what stock I should buy to make millions of dollars in 2026 and 2027. Please feel free to ask me any questions. So I just let it go like that. That was hard to see, guys. I'm sorry about that. I'm going to pause for a second while it just runs. Okay. Of course, you can help you with that. Blah, blah. However, I want to state that up front that, not a financial advisor, blah, blah, blah. Set up the environment, download, create key visualizations. Yes, please continue. Do everything you want to do. Please create the trend analysis with a moving average. Maybe also include EMA. Also do the risk and volatility analysis and historical price comparison. Please let me know if you have any questions, and please set up a virtual environment in Python. Thank you. And I'm just going to let it go. So that's how the CLI kind of process works. There is a codex. There is Claude. Well, what else I say? There is Crush. This one is quit. Yep. There is Open Code. So basically, there's different ways to interact and create code. But there's also Quinn. I don't think I have a lot installed. We look for, but it doesn't matter. The nice thing about this one is, again, it uses Google's flagship models and it works. Let's see what else were we going to go over real quick. Okay. It just really depends on how you like to work. You like to work in Antigravity or Gemini. Sometimes, like I said, I go back and forth. Now, Jules is one of the newer products. It is, move over here, right here. So I put a GitHub repo to this. And what I do is I ask it to, want to leave it off. Okay, there we go. Loaded. Let me see if I make this a little bit bigger. So I just loaded the GitHub repo that I have the homework in. And then what I can do is I can ask it to do things with that GitHub repo. Can you check my spelling on the notebooks? I don't want to have misspellings. And then we just let it go. And magically, agentically, it will go through and look at all my code and just kind of take care of it. So in theory, I don't have to check back. I don't have to do anything. It's just going to go through and do that. Cloud Code has the same thing, and OpenAI have the same thing. So this is just another way of doing it. Now there are some things about Jules and other programs that you kind of already have to have a code base, or you have to have something pushed to GitHub. You have to have kind of a semi-designed environment. But other than that, they work pretty well. Like, so just to allow for the session. So that's Jules. I don't use Jules a lot. I used to use Cloud Code on the web a lot, but I just haven't used it a lot lately, to be honest with you. So what else do we have? So that's why that's highlighted. And Code Assist. Now Code Assist just goes in here, or over there. There we go. Gemini. Oh, right there. So what this does is now I can just use Gemini in VS Code or some other program. So now it's installed. I have to authenticate. Blah blah. Easy peasy. I think that's the bulk of what I wanted to show you. Like I said, I think most students would get the most benefit out of a notebook, Antigravity. And, I know probably about a third of the class is MS majors or, data analytics majors. You guys might enjoy Gemini. If you're more of an MBA, less coding, Antigravity might work for you. So yeah, experimenting with prompt AI Studio, and that's what I use it for. Um, so if you notice, when I create something with either Jules or CLI, it's not repeatable. Like I can't, if I answer the same question, it might not follow the same steps. Well, in notebooks, you're guaranteeing it follows the same steps. Hold on, sorry about that. Notebooks LM is just for research so you guys can learn and be good in life. Finding features interactively, anti-gravity, that was again this. Okay. Gemini command line interface that says right here running. You see it working in the background. Again, that's just kind of how you prefer to work. Jules is this. You see it's still running, still working. It works agentically in the background, so I don't really have to monitor it. I mean, it's checking homework 8. And then if you have another, and like I said, the Gemini Code Assist, it works in probably Databricks, not Databricks, JetBrains. Sorry about that. JetBrains, VS Code, anything that uses the like VS Code type of interface. There's a bunch of them out there. So hopefully, guys, that was helpful. Like I said, I hope you really don't get stuck with any one program, any one platform, because putting all your eggs in Google, I don't think that's a good idea. Putting all your eggs in OpenAI, not a good idea, or Gemini or Claude. At the end of the day, these are tools to get you to produce something that moves the needle. Which, if you have questions, let me know. Yeah. Have a great week.